Martial Arts at 2233 South Canal Street, Newton Falls, Ohio. He's been my longtime mentor. He got me into martial arts, and we're going to find out what makes him tick today. Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you, John. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. When did you start your martial arts training?
Oh, well, so my first intro into martial arts, I was probably about 11 or 12 years old, and I tried a Kempo school in Warren, Cliff Kelly's, and I kind of started there. Was there for not very long, probably 4 months or 5 months. I think I got 1 belt or 2 belts, and something happened, and something in family life, and I ended up not going back after a certain time, and it kind of bothered me. I kind of liked it, but it didn't click with me right off. Like, you know, I've heard some other people say, you know, something stuck with them, and they jumped in there and they stayed with it, and it just didn't click for me. So after a short time, maybe another year or so, I had the chance to try another school, which was actually Kent State, and they had an outreach program, a school that was at Kent State, but it was part of Master Kebe Chun's. One of his students was running that school, and it wasn't very far from my house, so I started to go there, and ended up staying there for a couple years. I did not achieve my black belt, but I was there for a long time, and I really liked that school. And but again, I stayed there for a while, and then I kind of got out of it.
And that was under Grandmaster Naples?
That was the first time I met Grandmaster Naples, was during those years there. He was not actually the instructor at that facility, but I did meet him, and I'll come back to that a little bit later when we start talking about exams and stuff, because I have some stories about that. But that was the first time I met him, and you know, after the following years late in my life of getting to know Grandmaster Naples really well, I kind of wish I was under his tutelage at that time. But I did stay there for a long time, and then kind of moved away. And martial arts was always still there for some reason. It was always in my mind. I kind of practiced. I still, you know, I still did some martial arts moves and tried to stay in shape using martial arts. And, you know, some of your future guests coming up, you know, there was some Taibo going on and things like that, and some other areas of self-defense that I kind of went to, short programs and things like that. So I kind of stayed in there.
So you took a sabbatical, per se.
I took a sabbatical.
And then?
College, marriage, a son. Always with a strong regret that I didn't finish what I started. I didn't get that black belt that I, you know, wanted so bad, but you know, it just, I didn't have the right motivation. I didn't have the right support behind me. So with that, I just kind of kept it in the back of my head. My son got to be about 5 years old, and he's watching Ninja Turtles, and I kind of asked him, I said, would you like to learn this stuff for real? And you know, he's 5. He goes, yeah. So I enrolled him into junior Taekwondo school, was on North River Road by Delphi.
In Warren, Ohio.
In Warren, yep. And I enrolled him in there, and that was under Master Bruce Beaumont, and who was also under Myungwon Kim. And so he was direct lineage from Myungwon Kim. And so my son went there, and I watched, and I practiced with him, and you know, I kind of learned what he learned, and worked with him, and kind of in the draw to get back into the martial arts was just constantly pulling at me. shortly after that, after he was nearing his black belt, the Grandmaster Beaumont sold his school to, at this time, Justin Taylor. And at that time, I met Justin and now Master Taylor, and he constantly encouraged me to, you need to come here. You need to do this. I know you want to. You know, he could see it, and so I said okay, and started back with him, and then 25 years later, here I am through a number of masters and grandmasters I've studied under and with, but about the last 25 years solid. And you know, here we are in the school, and you know, it's been a fun road.
Your first school you actually bought from Master Justin Taylor.
I did.
That was in Champion.
Yeah, I got to say, Master Taylor was a big support. He always helped me out with a lot of different things, and he had a school in Champion, and he got to a point where he was going to move to Boardman out that way and open a school there, which he still has. And so my son at that time, he was second degree black belt, but he was overseas in the military. He went to Kuwait and Iraq, and he had said he wanted to have his own martial arts school. So Master Taylor ended up selling the school to me, and while he went out to Boardman, and we still continue to work together with the two schools. And when my son got back, we kind of ran the school together for a few years.
Under Master Taylor, or
yes,
Master Taylor.
Yep. And so at that point, some things happened in a couple years of the school, and I had to step away from the school for a little while, and my son ran it for a while. He kind of parted ways with Master Taylor. They went different directions, and
but at this time, you were.
I was still training, and I was still.
Master Taylor.
Yes, I was still with Master Taylor, and I was teaching at Master Taylor School as well as learning, and full circle came around, and that's where I re-engaged with Grandmaster Naples.
Yes.
And I started training with Grandmaster Naples again. So that was real exciting. And, you know, when we found out, you know, that we knew each other from, you know, 15 years earlier, it was real nice, and we always had a connection. And he's a great guy, and great martial artist, and great guy, great friend. So I got to stay engaged with that, with him for a while. Couple more years passed. My sister taught dance at the actual studio we're in right now for about 20 years. And the owner decided she was going to take her leave. Yep, she was going to sell off the school. My sister was offered the school. We have a nice school, three large rooms for training, and we had always thought, what if you had a school that did dance and martial arts in the same school? And, you know, I have great girl martial artists, and I have great guys in the dancing program, but per se, the dancing side is 90% girls. The martial arts side is 90% boys. So
if you could intermingle that,
that's what we thought. We thought, what if you had exactly? What if you had a boy and a girl, and you wanted the girl to go to dance and the boy, and you could go to one place and you could have it all? So that's kind of what we did. And then we kind of integrated some other things, like you had just mentioned, the fact that we have tumbling here, and there's some open form type competitions that require some pretty advanced tumbling, flips, and stuff like that. And we had the teachers and the instructors here to teach that. So we do have a martial arts tumbling class that kind of helps with that too. So needless to say, me and my sister bought this school, and we've been pretty successful for the last 4 years, and it's really grown and expanded, and we look to continue doing this for years into the future. And so that's kind of what got me right here.
So you had a pretty extensive eclectic journey.
It was bounced around a lot. I've recently been, in the last couple years, been training under Grandmaster AJ Perry, and he has taught me so much, and he's re-engaged me with things. I said I'm never going to do competition again. I'm too old for that, you know. And
you just won Grandmaster last year?
That was last year, yeah. And so
great champion. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Grandmaster Perry was like, no, you need to compete again. So, you know, and Grandmaster Perry is not somebody you say no to. So I said, all right, I'll try it. And I did. And that was real successful with winning gold in that. And that got me re-energized in a whole nother part of martial arts, opening back up for me again. And
so you fell under not Master Beaumont. You didn't train under him.
I did not train under him.
So under Master Taylor, Master Naples, now Grandmaster AJ Perry. Do you see similarities in the three master instructors there?
The instructors themselves or the styles?
We'll start out with the instructors themselves, and then we'll go to styles.
I'm going to say the instructors themselves are very different personalities.
Yes.
With no questions asked. Yeah, I mean, without describing, I mean, Master Taylor is very charismatic, very energetic.
He can motivate, that's for sure.
Very motivational. Master Naples was real practical, really wanted you to learn a lot of the history, wanted you to learn why you're doing it, what you're doing, you know.
He literally is a walking historian.
Yes, he is. And you know, they call that bunkai, the actual practical use of what you're doing, and the practical self-defenses. Grandmaster Perry is a little stern.
You'll know when you mess up under Master Perry, but he's fun to learn under.
He is, and he's motivated me a lot, and you know, forces you to be good. And so I've learned a lot from a lot of different instructors. You know, I had time with Grandmaster Gordon, and I've learned a lot of things from him and his teachers, his instructors. We got to luckily spend some time together over the last couple of years, and you know, so.
Why do you think Taekwondo in the United States is so popular at this point in time? You got USAT, you got AAU, you got ITF, you got ATA, you got all these different organizations pushing Taekwondo, but these organizations are pushing the different types and different styles of Taekwondo. Why do you suppose it's so popular in the United States?
I think Taekwondo was very, very well marketed. That's what I think. I think it... you know, when it came time and they sent the grandmasters over from Korea and said, you know, Master Chun, or Grandmaster Chun, you're going to Cleveland, and you know, and sending these different masters to all these different big cities and get them started to spread Taekwondo. And the one thing I can say about Taekwondo, it has a lot of different levels to it, or a lot of different pieces to it that, you know, maybe you're not the best at sparring, and maybe even you don't even like that part of it as much, but there's a big aspect of board breaking. There's a big aspect of pumse, or forms in it, and that may be where you excel in that. And if you have the right instructors that you know, can help you with your passion of that part of the art and can keep you engaged in that, that kind of keeps you in it. And even though you might not like all parts of it, there's a lot of different areas of it, and maybe not even competition isn't even your thing. You like to, you know, learn the self-defense part and that's what you like and that's what you come for. And, of course, in our curriculum, you have to learn it all. That's what makes you a rounded martial artist. But there may be pieces you excel in, or pieces that you really like. And I think with the right instructor that keeps you engaged in what you like, that keeps you coming back and it keeps you moving forward. And I think Taekwondo just opened the doors for a lot of different people. Taekwondo has, special needs areas. Which is, as you know, is kind of, I have my own para students. And
you kind of gravitate towards that.
And I kind of like helping the people that don't think that they would be the right fit for martial arts. I like to show them that they are, and we can talk a little bit about that in a little bit.
That's kind of why I started this channel, is because I want people to know martial arts is for everybody. I've seen wheelchair people do martial arts. I mean, if I see people with one leg do martial arts, it's for everybody. It's not just for the big guys that want to pick fights.
Or the people that are specifically designed for Taekwondo, the tall, slender, fast.
Kick straight up.
Right. And, you look at me and it was like, you're not the tall, slender, fast type. No, I'm not.
No. But you do teach a very, very, very good class.
Well, thank you,
So
sir.
your school is a primary world Taekwondo school, correct?
That is correct. So our curriculum from from beginner to first degree follows a Kukiwan style World Taekwondo curriculum, through the Taeguk forms to choreo, and then our one steps and our sparring, and we have those that are kind of mixed, everything from Hapkidos to judo. Being a descendant of Myung-Won Kim, we keep our judo pretty close. Matter of fact, speaking of which, judo champion, that was pretty good.
World Police Fire Games.
World Police Fire Games, yep. That was a fun time going down there with you and doing that. It was, you're an inspiration in those aspects.
I appreciate that.
But you're too small for those guys. They were huge.
Yes, they were.
But it was fun.
Being a fifth Dan black belt, primary world Taekwondo school, did you find when we re-engaged or engaged with Grandmaster AJ Perry, and he is Tung Soo Do, going back to the traditional Kwan of the lineage that we currently fall under, did you find it frustrating or difficult to start over from square one in order to move up?
Well, I will have to say this. I keep talking about full circle, things coming around. When Master Taylor first took over the school, it was still that Tung Soo Do style. It was we were Paul gave forms. We weren't Taeguk forms at the time. The one steps were actually the one steps that I'm teaching now that I've just relearned from Grandmaster Perry. So there was a lot of that. The judo that was in it and everything. When I first started with Master Taylor, and I was with him for 20 years, and we started there. Then, as the school evolved more into competition, we moved into the World Taekwondo because that's what was at the competitions.
Right.
So we started and we moved towards the Taeguk and the WT stuff, and so I kind of moved away from what I'm getting back into now. So I'm actually, there was a lot of stuff we left behind that I liked, and now it's coming back. So I'm keeping the World Taekwondo, the competition part of it, and the competitions that we go to, but I'm now integrating, the Muay Kwan traditional stuff back into it, and I do find the Tung Soo Do is a nice mix of the Taekwondo and karate.
They call it Korean karate.
Yes, there's a nice mix there, and when spending some time learning from Grandmaster Gordon, the karate aspect of it, I see a little bit of that in the Tung Soo-Do, and I see a little bit of the Taekwondo in the Tung Soo-Do. So
it's like a hybrid.
I see a little bit across the boards, and I'm trying to build a school that's open to everything. We have a lot of different instructors here. We have a Japanese jiu-jitsu instructor that comes in. We got a Bushido instructor. We actually have a wrestler. And he comes in and teaches, and along with our black belts.
So going back to the traditional Tung Soo-Do from WT, we go to quite a few competitions in this school. Do you think the competition, the sport aspect of Taekwondo is kind of pushing the Kwans away, kind of taking over the sport? I mean, do you see in the future that taking over everything, the WT?
I do not, but there is some fractions there, and it's good and bad. So the good part is for the competition. If there was one overall overseer, kukiwan, whatever, of the competition part of it, it allows everybody to compete on a fair playing ground.
Right.
I know, I'll say for example, and we go to a couple tournaments that are not World Taekwondo tournaments.
One coming up.
And we go there, and we're performing our World Taekwondo form at an A+ standard, and we don't come in first place, and we go, okay, because those instructors or those referees are from a different style, and they're looking for different things. And so it kind of levels the playing field on that. However, I think it's bad on another occasion, is that singularity where this is the way to do it. You start to lose other things. You start to lose, to some degree, the practicality of it. The competition is, with electronic equipment, and you put this magnet on and you have to turn your foot this way to kick to score a point. Now you talk to your student and go, okay, now if you're in a situation where you have to kick somebody, you don't do it that way. You do it this way. This is the way to get the most effective, the most damage done and in and out. So there's examples of that in there, and I wish there was a way to say, okay, we're gonna use this in competition, but it has to be a practical thing in real life as well.
Yeah.
So you could just teach that. So as much as I like to be a competition school, because I think the kids get so much. Kids, I say kids. Anybody younger than 60 is a kid to me, but the students, they get a lot out of the competitions.
Absolutely.
They go there, it's a blast, it's a great teamwork thing. They win, they have a lot to look forward to in competitions. But at the same time, if they get in a fighting situation or a self-defense situation, they need to be able to defend themselves, and they got to be able to put those two things together, but keep them separate. Right. In the real world, like, I'm not going to do this. This spinning back kick to the head is not going to get me out of this situation here.
Looks pretty.
It looks pretty, but it's not your most effective technique for certain situations.
We've spoken a lot about this in previous episodes. Kids today are a lot different than they were back when I was growing up. I'm 43 years old. How do you balance discipline with your students to a point to where they're not going to be like, I'm out?
Yeah, so
it's a fine line.
That is a fine line. I think I do a really good job of retaining my students. And there's a couple ways I do that. So, I love this question because it's kind of the foundation of I have a school that is a very good entry-level school for martial artists. I start kids as little as 4 or 5 years old, and at first, when they first come in, I'm not asking the 5-year-olds what they want to get out of this, but I'm asking the parents, why is your child here? Why are you bringing them to me? And having only 70, 80 students total, I can do that. I can get to know every family. I can get to know what they want, what they're trying to get out of martial arts. I tell them, this is a phrase I use often. When you're a football player, when you're a basketball player, when you're in these sports and you leave the field, you're no longer that person. You turn into somebody else. You turn into your social, whoever you are. When you're in martial arts, you got to be martial arts 24/7.
Yes.
And it's about your attitude, your character, your discipline and all that. And so I try to engage the students outside of martial arts too. I'll go to their sporting event, check them out, see what they're doing, encourage them. That's a whole nother conversation we could have, sports versus Taekwondo. We can save that for another day.
We'll break these up.
But what you're saying, how you balance the discipline in that. When students first come, and I have a white belt, and he comes in, and all my black belts know this, there's never any negativity towards that student. You don't tell them they did anything wrong. If they're trying to get a move, if it's in the basic general motion of the move, we're going to high five them.
Right.
We got to make it fun for them to come, engaging for them to come. We slowly bring in the discipline, and we also display the discipline as the higher belts. So I talk to kids even as the time they get to yellow and orange belts. I said, I'm going to teach you to be a leader. So yes, you can be the leader. If you're standing the way you're supposed to, if you're not fooling around, if you're not talking, you're being a leader. They're looking over at you. Other people, new kids that are walking in the door, they're looking at you and going, oh, that must be how I should act. And, I try to carry that all the way up to the black belts stay on that level. And the majority of the students do too. And when one steps out of line, the other ones tell them, hey, no, you shouldn't be talking. That instructor's talking over there. You need to be quiet.
Right.
So I kind of get that discipline to kind of take care of itself. Every once in a while you have to step in, but that's kind of the way I handle the discipline. As they get higher in the belts, the discipline becomes more. There's less forgiveness.
Right.
As it comes, because I expect more from you. You know it. You know the rules. You know what you're supposed to be doing. And if you're not doing your best, which is one of our guidelines. Do your best. And if you're not doing that, you're not following our guidelines. So with that's kind of how I balance that a little bit. Just try to help those kids stay engaged as they're coming up through. Don't let them go.
So you've had some major setbacks in your martial career, medically and among other things. How hard was that to overcome? I mean, you've had major back surgery. You're more machine than man at this point. So.
Yeah, I got a few things implanted all over, but no, I think it helped me. I think the martial arts helped me, that I wanted to get back to that. And, I got to a point, and then I have so many inspirations to look up to, like hip replacements and all that stuff, from everybody from like Superfoot Wallace to, even, Grandmaster Perry and Grandmaster Naples even, right. What they've gone through, they've done it before me. So that gave me something to look to go, I can make it through this because they made it through it. But yeah, the 1 year of, I couldn't walk from the parking deck to the hospital for my surgeries, and having to be wheelchaired to that, I never thought I would be what I'm doing now.
Right.
I'm getting better.
Absolutely.
I'm getting better, and I've got some major things fixed, and I feel great. And so now I want to do stuff. So I don't think they were setbacks. I think they were more springboard, because I want to do it now more than ever.
That's a good way to look at it.
And when you walked in and you're training and the pain and not the good pain,
right?
Not the good kind of training pain, the actual pain of having injuries, that kind of pain and not healing, and then to have that gone, it's just wonderful.
I think a couple of my previous guests touched on taking care of your body and the evolution of training in martial arts. It's gotten significantly better, and I think it was Grandmaster Gordon that said you have to listen to your body.
Yeah, that's absolute. So I'll spring a little bit onto another topic, and there's almost no one that can walk through my door that I can't bring them into Taekwondo. I have students waiting on kidney transplants. I've got students fighting battles with weight. I got students, older adult students that, I can't bend that way, I can't. Okay, no problem. We can work around that. And as being a person that was never a born athlete, some people are born athletes. My father was a born athlete. He was, track and field champion, basketball champion, and all that kind of stuff. And I did not get that. So I think one thing that's important to realize is if you bring two people in and you do the exact same training, that training is going to be a lot harder for one of those two people. And you have to recognize that if one person has to work a lot harder than another person, they've actually came farther.
I would agree with that.
Than the person that just came in and went, oh, this is all easy, I can do it all. And you go, okay, well, you've done the same training, but you kind of have to look at that person. And I've had people look at my students and go, that person took 8 years, 9 years to get a black belt, and they still look like that. And I just say, you just don't know where they came from.
You got to see the beginning of the journey.
Yeah, you don't know how far they came.
Right.
And I think a black belt, I think, is a personal journey. I think it's not the same. And even though we have promotion tests and you have to be able to do this, you have to be able to do this, there's always exceptions you have to make for people's physical abilities or capabilities. But when that's all said and done, that black belt they achieved is individual. They had an individual journey, an individual training, and some work harder than others to get to that same place. But it is definitely their own self-achievement.
So as a school owner, how do you not lose focus? How do you not fall out of love of what you're doing? We all have good days. We all have bad days. We all have days like, man, I got to go there and I got to stay there till 9 o'clock. We all do it.
Yes.
How do you stay on track and stay focused and not lose that love?
As a business owner too.
Right. I've never thought about that.
It was definitely easier as an instructor and you go into somebody else's school. You teach the class and you leave.
Right.
You don't have to deal with that parent that's getting ready to quit or that child that's getting ready to quit. You don't have to deal directly with the fact that you don't know if you can make payroll this week, because, you've let these families slide because you don't want to lose, and you just have so many business issues on top of the training you do in the school. So it's the actual training coming in and working with the kids. And again, when I say kids, I mean students. Yeah. It's working with them that actually lifts me up. And the business part of it is not the fun part at all.
No, I would imagine.
It's kind of miserable most of the time. But coming in and seeing each student achieve a new goal every day. There's a student achieving something every day.
Absolutely.
And I get to look at that and watch that. And I have so many stories of students that I've taught since they were 5 years old. You know, now they're 25, they're off
Teaching
to
4
college.
years.
And then they come back and they walk in and they teach some classes and things like that.
I touched on this, I think it was last week. Sometimes those students motivate you.
They do, absolutely.
You got this young tiger, you know, silver dollar eyes and some huge smile and loving what she's doing.
And I'll tell you what, whenever you can't get out of that, it's very nice to know that you have other people around you that can kind of take over for you.
Right.
And including yourself and some of the other black belts I have and some of the other instructors can walk in and you can just say, hey, can you take classes a day? And they're just, yep, we got it. And,
Yes, sir.
and a lot of times it's even better because they introduce something you haven't done in a while, but it's something on the top of their list of drills
they've been wanting to do.
Yeah, and so it kind of helps that way. But, you know, the first couple of years of running this school, I didn't have nobody else.
Oh, okay.
And you know, I went 2 years. I never took a day off, and I was here every day. Never canceled a class, and
It's still pulling teeth to get you to cancel a class, even if
yeah, I don't like to
to.
cancel classes.
So, what is the biggest thing you've learned since doing martial arts? Being it, you know, that either Master Taylor, Master Naples, Grandmaster Naples, Grandmaster Perry. What is one thing that you've learned over your journey in martial arts? And this will be the final question.
Yeah, well, I would say the one thing I learned is martial arts is not for everyone. No matter how you can...
Not athletically, more mentally.
Everything.
Uh-huh.
It could be both.
Okay.
Could be, you know, it's not for everyone. And I am going to work with that student till I have no options left. Because I think martial arts is good for everyone.
Right. Contradicting yourself here a little.
And I believe in the program. I believe what it does. You know, I believe in the everything it accomplishes in a person, from self-esteem to character to, you know, the actual ability to protect yourself or your family. But it is not for everyone. And when you have to finally let that student go and say, you know, hey, welcome to come back. Try again when you want to.
do that yet, though.
It's happened, but I have to let them go.
Yes, sir.
And that's hard, and it's really hard. But that's not without a fight. I'm going to do everything I can to keep them here, and you know, because I think it's good for them.
Well, I appreciate you sitting down with me. Again, this is Master Darren Warren, 5th Dan Taekwondo practitioner at 2233 South Canal Street, Newton Falls, New Wave Global Martial Arts. What night are your classes, sir?
Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, 6 to 6:45. And you could go to newwavetkd.com and it's a landing page. All you're going to see is download the app. And you can click on there and you can download a free app, and it doesn't cost anything. And you can go into that app and you can see all the classes we have available, and you can sign up right from that app, or feel free to come down for a free week's class and check us out.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you.